Just for those that couldn't join us tonight, and for all of you as well, this recording will be sent to you after. So again, thank you all for joining tonight for our Automotive Engineering Alumni webinar. We'll get started here, look at our agenda. So first up, our introductions. I am Alicia Markey. I am the recruiter for our Automotive Engineering program. So you probably have gotten my emails. So thank you for reading them and attending tonight. We have our alumni overview as well with our esteemed alumni, William. Will is what usually you'll go by. And then we'll open it up for a Q&A right after, and then I'll go over the auto overview, and then application deadlines, and then contact info in case questions come up after the webinar. So I will turn it over to our alum so he can introduce himself. Right now, he's off camera because he's just updating software and everything, but he'll still be able to hear him and hear all about his kind of experience in the program and what he's doing currently. So I'm going to stop talking and turn it over to you, Will.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My name is Will Stann. I graduated class of 2023 from the U of M Auto program. Since then, I've started working at Ford and vehicle architecture in their department, and been working a lot in the BEV space, which is why I went back to U of M. And just excited to talk to you all about my experience, what I got out of the program, and why I chose U of M.
Thank you so much. So now I just want to open it up to all of you here to see if you have any specific questions that you want to ask Will about like courses he took, about the University of Michigan itself, or the automotive engineering specifically, what he's doing at Ford. You can feel free to unmute and ask your questions, or you can use the chat function. I'll read those questions aloud. And while we're waiting for some of those questions, I actually have a question that I will start us off with, but feel free to jump in. Oh, hi, Will. So the first question that I have for you, and some others might have had this too. So when you were looking at the University of Michigan or other programs too, so what made you choose automotive engineering, like specifically and specifically at the University of Michigan? Like what kind of drew you in and was like, this is the program for me? Oh, no, you're muted. Sorry, Will.
Oh no, thank you for catching me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, auto for me was a no-brainer. Ever since I was a kid, I had always been super interested in cars and working on cars with my dad. And so when it came time for undergrad, I did mechanical materials engineering and I did Baja SAE. And I knew that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so when I looked at jobs post undergrad, I basically looked at the top companies that I was interested in working at, and I saw notable alumni and, or not notable alumni, but where people had gone to school in the jobs that I wanted to fulfill. So I knew I wanted to do something in architecture. And so I looked at Ford, I looked at GM, I looked at all of the big three. And I saw that U of M was the number one attended university for the people who were living my dream. So I said, no brainer, this is where I'm going. And that was it. And then I went to campus, saw campus, fell in love with it, and the rest is history.
Easy decisions. I like that.
Yeah.
I have another question too while we're waiting for any more that come in. When you were in your master's program, are there any specific things that really stood out to you when you were in your courses or any like activities as a student that really like stood out to you during your program?
Yeah. So, especially when it ties back to like what I'm doing now, something that really set U of M apart from other universities when I looked at like programs and offerings and stuff like that is, I guess there are three things. So the first is networking. There is such an extensive alumni network, and so many of us are excited to give back and talk with you all and work on career development and stuff like that. So one, take advantage of that while you can. It's invaluable, and that sort of alumni network exists and persists well past when you graduate. So that's one. Two, the career fair. I have never seen so many companies seeking out our class or our students. When you cold apply to a job, it's so hard to get your foot in the door. But when you already have the FaceTime, you're able to talk about your experiences to a recruiter your resume is already put at the top of the list. And that's something that really makes, postgraduate placement, it sets U of M apart. So those are two things that I would recommend taking advantage of. And then another one is the coursework and how Art Hyde, which I believe is still our director, how he set up the program. It spends so much time developing your foundational knowledge in the industry, which is what sets us apart. And so taking his 501 class, which is like introductive to automotive systems, or taking his 522 class, which is automotive systems and design and designing in context and the systems engineering aspect of vehicle design. And all of these courses are project based, and you get to do a lot of research on vehicles and platforms and technology that you're interested in, and you can tailor your, I guess, experience into, the sort of roles that you want to fulfill later. And so I worked in the BEV space, and everything that I wanted to do post grad from U of M was in EV systems, and so I was able to, you know, direct my coursework, direct my projects for these classes in that space, while some of my counterparts that I also work with at Ford, who graduated the program with me, did motorsports, and so they focused on an entirely different thing. But yet we were still able to cohesively work towards, progressing in the class, and Art allowed us all to kind of pick our own adventure. But we all gained the skills that have made us successful post grad. I think that's like the key. Yeah.
No, those are huge. So just to go back to your points, the alumni network is huge. It is over 640,000 alums worldwide. So it's one of the largest living alumni networks in the world too. So literally alums all over the world that you get to kind of join this Wolverine family when you become a Michigan Wolverine and join the master's program in automotive engineering. And then the career fair, like you said, the career fair brings in over 300 companies to campus. And the career fair happens in the fall semester and in the winter semester. So there's two chances to kind of hit these networking and, building these connections with the recruiters that come to campus. And like you said, these recruiters are just here for our University of Michigan College of Engineering students. So it's a great opportunity to kind of get, your face in front of them, your name, and get to kind of pitch yourself to them. So even if you aren't looking for that internship, first semester, they're going to come back and recognize you and be like, didn't I talk to you? Didn't I see you before? So I think that's a huge, huge help. And we've heard a lot of our students say that that's how they found their internships, capstone projects, and also their kind of full-time opportunities were from those career fairs and utilizing the Engineering Career Resource Center on campus, the office, the ECRC as it's referred to. All of you will soon learn if you come here that we love acronyms. We shorten everything. So that office, the ECRC, helps you with your resume reviews, your mock interviews, even salary negotiation appointments. So they really help you with kind of everything based around your career. So they're a great resource to utilize as a student. So I highly recommend utilizing them sooner rather than later too. So, but
Yeah, just to
such.
like, I guess to touch like a little more on that, the almost all of my friends that I made in the program, all of us got our placement from the career fair. And there's nothing more exciting. And touching back on that alumni network, there's nothing more exciting than walking across the parking lot at work after a big game day, Michigan won, and then you just hear the "Go Blue" just getting shouted across the parking lot. It's crazy wearing a Michigan shirt or sweatshirt or hat. It doesn't matter what you're wearing as long as it's got the big M on it, and you'll hear people shouting out because they're alumni or fans or whatever, what have you. And I never knew how much of a community we had until, you're halfway across the country and someone says it. And I remember I've heard stories about people internationally in countries that, you wouldn't think, and yet they'll come over and say hi just because of a silly little letter on your shirt. And it's pretty awesome. So
Oh, it truly is. It's nice to have that, especially if you like move to a new area. You could reach out to like alumni groups that are in different like cities and places to kind of like have a touch point there to say like, hey, I'm new. Like, is there an alumni group here? And most of the time there usually is in a city so that you can have at least someone to kind of reach out to and get to know some people there. So it's very nice to have. Another question I have for you, Will, is can you tell us a little bit of what you're currently working on at Ford, or is it very hush hush? I understand if it is, but could you give us like a little bit of what you're working on?
Yeah, so I work on multiple programs doing architecture in the EV space. So two programs. Well, okay, I work on Mach-E and I work on a lot of new variants and new concepts that were coming up in that space. That's all hush hush, but I'm always happy to talk about the Mach-E family and the brand they're developing, as well as the tech that goes into it. And um, so yeah, I work mostly on the architecture space. So I work in tire package. So that's all the underbody systems. So that's the battery, that's all of your suspension, chassis, and wheels and tires. And so I package and develop new high performance variants, and create the functional system architecture for that, which is a lot of fun, exciting work. Lots of track days, testing, new products, and yeah, it keeps the day to day pretty lively.
That sounds really fun. I think I want to thank Will again today because he was putting out a lot of fires today at work and still found the time to come and talk with us tonight. So thank you.
Yes, of course.
I
I
appreciate
made the
it.
commitment. It's worth talking to you all because I know when I came here, it was these sorts of conversations with the alumni, with the people that I met on campus when I toured in person, that um, really solidified, the desire to come. So always happy to get back.
Thank you. You remember, I know you mentioned Art Hyde as a big factor for the program, and he is still one of our co-directors for the auto program. Him and Mickey Banu are both like co-directing the auto program now.
Mhm.
Do you remember your favorite course in the auto engineering program?
Oh yeah, no brainer. It was 522. It was the automotive systems design because so in the class you because designing a true vehicle product is a year like years in the making, and you kind of have to cram a class into four months ish. And so we developed a human powered vehicle, and you had to meet all of a set of very strict requirements like laid out by similar to like a Formula SAE team, and checking off all the boxes. And so you're on a five-man team developing the architecture for the car, and then you have to cat it all up and then present it in a formal like design presentation to Art, and he'll tear you to shreds. But in the end, it was, and I kid you not, I still look at those PowerPoints to this day. I create my presentations, I do my layouts, I look back at the little nuances that. And Art was a chief. He was a chief for for Mustang for a number of years, and so that level of scrutiny and understanding, what's the level that you're going to be talking at when you're doing a director review or you're in a chief review. Um, Art will bring it, and that's something that most programs can't offer is someone who has 40 plus years of experience at that level. So I still text Art to this day, ask him how he's doing and get some advice. So again, invaluable resource and a great man. He'll never say no to a quick chat, or if you want to talk about Formula One, he'll talk your ear off for hours.
Yep, I think he's still running the Formula One like club on campus. So I
Yeah,
think
I'm
it's
still
still
in
pretty.
that. I'm still in that email chain. So he never took me off.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I've got to get on that one. I've got to get on that one.
yeah.
But no, it is something very unique about our program because not only is the University of Michigan known for obviously academic excellence and research rigor and everything, but also having industry experts help teach our courses, like Art Hyde, who was in industry and at Ford for over 40 plus years, grandfather of the Mustang and everything. He is there grilling you, as Will said, but putting you through that industry rigor so that when you get this Master of Engineering degree, the MEng, it's industry focused and industry ready. It's making sure that you are ready to hit the ground running and take on the industry. So we want you to be prepared to have the academic side obviously ready, but to know what is going to actually happen when you enter the industry, the real world of it too. Because as we know, a lot of times, things books are great in theory, but don't always come to fruition. So, you know, it's nice to have that kind of balance in our program. And that's how the courses are kind of set up as well. Well, you touched on this a little bit earlier too of taking those different courses, too. You focus on the EV side, but others focus on motorsport too. So it's very much choose your own adventure of what courses you want to take and tailoring your course selections and your plan of study to really fit your passions and where you want to end up at the end of it in your careers. So, of course, there
Yeah.
are required courses that you have to take, like any program, but the rest of it really is up to you to pick and choose and to really tailor it to fit what you want to get out of the degree.
Yeah, just to touch like a little more on that, like when I was developing my coursework, some of my classmates focused on the motorsports, so that was a lot on vehicle dynamics, advanced vehicle dynamics, aerodynamics, pick the different dynamics, and those are the courses that they took. For me, I focused a lot more on like battery systems. So I took a lot of courses in the mechanical engineering department on like advanced energy generation and storage, or focusing on fuel cell technologies, battery cell technology, as well as like the control systems for those. I would say actually one of the best classes, which I think helped really set me up for my first role at Ford before I transitioned into the underbody structures. Um, was I took it was a hybrid electric vehicles and technology. It was a controls course, and the being able to have like that working level knowledge set me apart in my first role, and that's what really helped develop. And then I wanted to touch back on one more thing that you had stated. There's two people actually, Alex Kaufman, who graduated same year, same time as myself. We both went into the same department, and when we joined, there was an expectation of what a fresh grad would look like. And that was the expectation going in. And where we came at into the department was far exceeding that. And that opened doors and made people, look out and see you. Just because we knew the terminology, we knew the Ford systems because of art, we knew, the processes, how to put together a really great presentation from that 522 class. Um, and that you'll hear every time you're around Michigan, it's the Michigan difference, the Michigan difference. It's real and it's tangible. You can see it, and I've personally experienced it in my role, and so I hope that you all get to see similar benefits in your careers post grad.
You answered my next question. Well, way to go. You read my mind. The
Sorry.
next question, no, the next question was, has your degree impacted your career? So I think yes.
Yes, I would say so. I would definitely say so. And also, when you get into those, you always get that introduction on the first day to your program, whatever program you end up working on. Eventually, you're going to have to meet your chief. And the first thing the chief's going to say to you is U of M or Michigan State. And you got to be careful what you answer. And when you say Michigan, you usually get a firm handshake and a welcome to the team. So that was how my first day on Maki was, and I got a kick out of it. But it made a difference there. In addition to the technical side, the being prepared for the role, the soft skills help too.
Love it. No, when you were talking about kind of the areas that the degree looks at, some of the areas of excellence for automotive engineering, and obviously this is not all of them here, but specific areas of excellence that it focuses in on are advanced vehicle systems design, the automotive structures and vehicle dynamics, like you said, a lot of dynamics, electrical
Yes.
systems and software, powertrain. And then these are just some of the career outlooks for our students. Again, not all of them listed here, but just some of them that our students have gone into. But I also want to share with everyone, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second because I want to pull up our curriculum just to show everybody what it kind of looks like for auto because it is so vast. And I'll drop this in the chat for everyone to take a look at in more depth so you all can read it. But the curriculum itself, so you can see here, it's divided into these four kind of areas. The integrative science piece, where you can take courses from across the University of Michigan, and we want you to take courses outside of the College of Engineering. Ideally, we kind of push for that a little bit. The program core, that's the core foundational knowledge in automotive engineering. Your career pathways, we touched on that with where you want to go afterwards in your career. And then the immersive practice is that capstone project. That's usually an internship where you get to highlight to a company, possible future employer, the skills that you've learned throughout the program. So it's usually done towards the end of your degree, what you've learned. So kind of putting everything to work and see it come to fruition. So it's a great way to network with that potential future employer, usually on an internship towards the end of your semester, your program. So when you're looking at these, there's a lot of courses listed here and a lot of different areas of interests that you might have. These courses are obviously not all required, but just areas that you can look at and course options. So, like I said, take a look at this. I put it in the chat for you, but this is just a great start to kind of get you ready to look at some of those options. And as you can see here, they range from like mechanical engineering courses like Will took to auto specific courses to we even have like EECS courses, material science courses, to even like energy systems, design science. So it's just really all across the board that you can take different courses from and create your own custom plan of study. So very, very unique for the program. All right, let me go back to our slides. I also wanted to highlight to everyone too that, lucky for all of you, we still are accepting applications for spring summer semester as well as fall semester. So the spring summer semester, well, actually for this program, I should highlight that the program can be done online or on campus. So a lot of students who are working full-time can do the program part-time, or students go right from undergrad into it and can do it on campus, or whichever way you prefer. So spring summer semester, though, right here, that little asterisk you see there, that semester is online only. And that regular admissions deadline is coming up on March 15th. And then the final deadline for spring summer is April 15th. The fall application is also still open. The last deadline, though, for international students looking to be on campus for the fall semester is March 15th. So please be aware of that. And then for all other applicants, that's meaning international students looking to be online, and then domestic students looking to be online or on campus, that deadline is August 15th. I recommend, though, apply as soon as you're ready. Don't wait for these deadlines because you have to have a complete application by those deadline dates to be considered for the program. And that means having all of the materials submitted by that date. So what are those materials? There is an application fee for applying, 75 for domestic students, 90 for international. A minimum GPA of a 3.0, the average is a 3.5. The 3 letters of recommendation are required. This can come from your faculty or professors, or if you're working, can come from supervisors or managers, or can be a mixture of those as well. And when I was talking about how everything needs to be like in by that date, that's usually where the hangup is, are those 3 letters of rec. Because you do not submit those letters of rec, your recommenders submit their letters themselves. And sometimes, as you know, like faculty or even, your supervisors or managers might get pulled in other directions, and then you kind of have to like gently nudge them to get their letters of rec in. The GRE is not required, but highly recommended if you're at that minimum of the 3.0. Your resume and your curriculum vitae, your academic statement of purpose and your personal statement are your 2 written statements. Those we recommend to keep at 500 words each. And then your official transcripts. And if you're an international student, your English proficiency exams as well. So that's what we're looking for in the application itself. Will, I have another question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
All right. My other question is, what advice would you give a new student starting this program?
Oh, okay. Okay. So maybe not week 1 because Art's going to be 100% overwhelmed by a bajillion students asking him a lot of questions. But I would highly recommend setting up a time at like a motorsports club or after motorsports club, or just going to the motorsports club in general, because Art is an invaluable resource when it comes to, he's very forward thinking, and so he can have conversations with you about what classes are needed to supplement your background. And if you're coming in with zero interest, or sorry, with zero experience with like battery systems like I did, he was able to kind of create the stepping stone block in how I should lay out classes so that I can guarantee I can have that foundational knowledge when I leave. That's the first thing I would really recommend. The second thing is, there are going to be so many opportunities that come at you in the first few weeks that you're there. A lot of information, but also a lot of opportunities. And if you don't keep organized with all the dates, or all of those recruiting nights, or all of the making sure that you're free for the career fair. um, Keep your schedules tight and neat and tidy, because you don't want to miss out on those opportunities. And then lastly, there are going to be a lot of opportunities, and you're going to have to say yes to some and no to some. But I would highly recommend being an individual who's open to new, parts, probably scary opportunities, and situations that might make you feel a little uncomfortable, because you're in a big room. You have to sell yourself, your skills, your experience to someone that you have no idea who they are. But put yourself out there, because the risks and that you don't take are always missed. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I would recommend those three things. Talk to your advisors, get their advice. That's kind of what they're here for, and it's always something you should take. Stay organized, stay on top of the events, stay on top of the recruitment schedules. And then lastly, yeah, just be open to new and exciting things, because you never know where the journey takes you.
I love that. Very good. All right. I want to again highlight my contact information. So if you all have any questions that come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to answer them. Email works best, but I'm always happy to set up a Zoom call or a phone call. Just send me an email and we can set that up. Or if you have any specific questions for Will, just email them to me and I will ask Will if he has the time to answer them. So I don't want to give out his contact information and bog him down, but I'm happy to reach out and see if he has the time to answer them. But otherwise, please feel free to reach out to me. That's my job. So I'm happy to help you. And before we let you go, Will, I just have one last question for you. Would you recommend this program to others?
Always, yes, I do every time, and even some of my coworkers were thinking about going back for transitioning roles and stuff like that. Yeah, I always do.
Send them my
So
way.
go blue. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Will, for joining us tonight. Like I said, I so appreciate your time and willingness to share your experiences with us. It's so nice to see you again. And I just thank you for doing this. And I thank
Yeah.
all of you for joining tonight. Hopefully, this was helpful, and we'll see your applications soon. And like you said, Will, go blue.
Go blue.
Um, uh, can I ask a quick question?
Of
Just
course.
leave. Um, uh, First of all, thanks for sharing your experience, William. It is really interesting for me, and I can't wait to extend my career in a major car maker like Ford, you said.
Yeah.
I finished the automotive engineering program from UMich. So I'm specifically interested in automotive chassis design. So if you have any chance to learn about that kind of field like chassis design, what can I learn from this program and how it helps on my future career as an engineer?
Yeah. So, particularly looking at your chassis courses, I would highly recommend looking at the dynamics classes.
Uh-huh.
The art offers an intro as well as a high level, or art offers the intro, and then there's a higher level one that you can take afterwards. Um, but understanding how individual chassis components create a high functioning or performing vehicle, that's basically the fundamentals of that course. So I would highly recommend taking those. There's a race car. Did they finish the race car vehicle dynamics course, or is that still in the works?
I think it's still being worked out right now.
Okay. Um, yeah. And then there's also, you can take, I think there's other classes that are offered like specifically in chassis. Um, but I would say that very few people understand the cohesive chassis
Uh-huh.
design and the dynamics that come out of it.
Uh-huh.
Also, the sort of project cars that you can work on, so doing a Formula SAE or a Baja SAE, all of
Uh-huh.
these skills are pretty actively applied, and a lot of our grad students in auto end up working on those project teams. And so
Mhm.
you kind of have a sense to take, the classroom component where you do all the simulations and modeling, and combine that with the physical aspect and the car that you can actually drive. And we also have simulators on course on campus that Art has at Umtree. There's a simulator lab that you can work to do, physical testing of setups like that, which is also really cool. I forgot to add that earlier, but the sims are that we have at the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute are second to none. It's a great resource, and Art also, is your way into experiencing those. Does that answer kind of answer that question?
Yeah, oh, thanks for your advice. And yeah, I'm so much excited to learn about new things in the UMIS. So, actually like learning about automotive engineering is that is not a common major for the undergraduate students. So, yeah, that's why I choose this program and UMIS is really popular for the automotive industry. So, yeah.
It's number one in the country for it.
Right, right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
And this question is maybe a bit personal, but uh, in your company, like some people said like a PhD degree is recommended for actively participating in something like development process. Do you think it is necessary to get any like the higher degree than the master like that?
yeah. So in the technical side of things, we usually have technical specialists, and you can do one of two routes to get there. So you can either have a PhD in your field, and that
Mm-hmm.
takes off, 2 or 3 years from the minimum requirement. But realistically, I think the hands-on experience that you get coming in at a master's level and then doing the development with the company, you can I'll phrase it as such. A master's degree is a less time commitment, but you gain leaps and bounds in, positions. And you usually come in a plus one
Mm-hmm.
uh, promotion range above someone who just comes in with an
Mm-hmm.
undergrad degree. With a PhD, you come in plus two, but you're usually, 4 years behind, while a master's program like this can be knocked out in a year or a year and a half. Um, most of the people on my teams are all of they're senior engineers or technical experts through experience, not through PhD. So I wouldn't say
Oh,
it's
okay.
the norm. Granted, you got to put in the legwork, years
Okay.
in industry and stuff like that. But the masters gets you farther, faster
Mm-hmm.
than a PhD would, if that makes sense.
Okay. Because like some people like study more about their major field is a good part for them, but for me, I prefer the hands-on experience more. Like working as an engineer in the company is like it is much more interested for me. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, we call the term pigeonholing, or putting yourself as a technical expert that young in your career is
Mhm.
usually, I would say it's limiting because you don't get to experience or try out all the roles. Once you have a PhD degree, you kind of locked yourself into a technical expert role versus someone who might want to explore other options and have the
Oh,
flexibility that a career
oh,
development program might give you,
okay.
which a master's degree will set you up beautifully for, which is
Oh,
why I chose to do a master's degree over a PhD.
gotcha. That's a good
Yeah.
news for me. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, sir.
Yes, of course. Does anyone else have questions, or I don't know if we're over, Alicia, or
No,
if
no,
that's
no,
okay?
no, please, please. Everyone ask, please.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I'll answer any questions, personal, work, whatever.
Hello,
Hi.
hi. For me, I want to present it. For me, in this is in another situation. I'm an international student.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know how to do to have an admission for me.
For admissions?
Yeah,
Yeah, yep. So for the auto program itself, the admissions requirements is looking for, and I'll share my screen for everybody to see because this might
yeah.
be helpful for everyone. We're looking for a bachelor's degree in engineering or a related science.
Mm-hmm.
The degree must be completed with, like I said, the 3.0 minimum GPA. The average is a 3.5. We're looking for college engineering or mathematics and science. So this is like chemistry, calculus, physics, differential equations experience. And then usually coursework in at least three of the core areas of automotive engineering. So like power, propulsion, dynamics, controls, aerodynamics, structural mechanics, electronics. And then we do like to see full-time industrial experience. Now this can be waive sometimes if you have other experiences. So it's not always a requirement to have the full 18 months of work experience there. But that's what we're looking to see for our undergraduate students.
Yeah, I can talk a little more to that. I actually came in with zero industry experience. I had internships, of course, while I was an undergrad. But time working on Formula student teams, so like Baja SAE, Formula Student, all of those kind of count towards some of that experience. And so, don't think that just because you don't have the work experience, it's going to cut you from the program.
Yeah,
I'm an example of that.
yeah. After my degrees bachelor, I make 2 years of for this program in my country, and actually I have a job, but I want to extend my no I want to extend my knowledge for becoming an engineer in a motorsport or in a mechanical engineering or the two both.
So are you looking specifically just for mechanical engineering or motorsports engineering?
Just a mechanical engineering.
So this degree, automotive engineering, is housed under mechanical engineering,
Yeah.
but it's an automotive engineering degree.
Mhm. uh, Automotive engineering degree.
Yes, yep, but it's housed under the mechanical
Just
engineering program.
yeah, actually, I have an advancing technician certificate 2 year after bachelor degrees in my country, and I don't know the equivalence. I don't know the equivalence with your country in US.
Equivalence of it.
Yeah.
What was
What?
your
Hmm?
Khalifa? What was your undergraduate degree?
An advancing technician.
Advanced technician
Yeah.
with your undergraduate degree in?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and then you have 2 years after that in
Well, I have 2 years after bachelor degree.
in what specifically?
Yeah, I don't. In my country, we
Mhm.
have the French education.
Yep.
We have the French education. We have some difference with your system of education. This is the problem, and I don't know exactly the equivalence with your degrees in your country.
So
This is the problem.
So when you apply as an international student, you will submit a Scalero report. So that's
Mm-hmm.
going to transfer everything over into our system.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like that's going to take everything, like your GPAs and everything are going to be transferred over to the US system from Scalero
Mm-hmm.
so that it will all
Uh-huh.
match for our system.
D'accord. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? Mm, Nothing else. Okay. All right. I think that's it now. Okay, thank you all so much for your questions. And again, thank you, Will, for taking the time to answer them. I appreciate it.
Thank you for
Hopefully,
having me. And
I
if
know,
anyone does have questions, yeah, forward them my way. I'm happy to talk, advocate for the program, whatever you need.
definitely will. Thank you all so much again. I look forward to seeing your applications. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, William. Thank you,
Bye.
Alicia.
Bye.